Ladies and gentlemen,
Presenting.
Rolling.
Where are you this morning, Roland?
Palm Desert, California, 3rd annual Anthony Anderson Celebrity Golf Classic, benefiting, of course, a number of charities, including Fight Against Diabetes. And so, man, it's
I bet that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. This is the 3rd annual one. I missed it last year because the cruise was the same time. Anthony said, "We'll skip the damn cruise." I said, "Well, it's sort of like if Bob Iger had something at his house, you might want to show up since you're on Blackish. I kind of work on the show, Anthony, so just not that simple." Yeah, I understand. So, but here's a crazy thing. It was 105 degrees 2 years ago. Okay.
Ooh.
Last night, we're thinking it's going to be hot. Last night, wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour last night. We're sitting on the patio with blankets on. It was that crazy. So I don't know what's going on with this California weather, but Donald Trump, global warming is real, dude. It is real.
Byron Allen, ever since he bought the Weather Channel, Roland, I'm telling you, weather's been late.
Yeah, I understand. So we certainly going to be a great time. Looking forward to it. And I'll, of course, be doing Roland Martin Unfiltered from here. So still, definitely check it out today. All right, folks, let's talk about shout-out time. I did the Bowie State commencement on Friday. Shout out to all of the graduates. I had a great time with them on Friday.
Did you make a big announcement on Friday?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Did you make a Robert Smith kind of announcement?
No, I didn't. But both of us are alphas. But certainly, big announcement my frat yesterday, and so shout out to all the Morehouse brothers. All right, let's talk about what's happening in New York. Daniel Pantaleo, the cop who killed Eric Garner, is facing essentially a departmental trial over the death of Eric Garner. And what is stunning, Tom, is the testimony we've heard thus far. First, the lawyers for Pantaleo have said that Pantaleo actually saved Garner's life by preventing him from falling into a glass window by virtue of the chokehold.
Really?
But Eric Garner's dead. So how did you save somebody's life who actually died? Then also a police commander, we now know through text messages, said it was no big deal that Eric Garner actually died. That was the response there. And so the trial continues today. This will determine whether or not he keeps his job. And so, folks, in this trial, this departmental trial. So let's talk to Redditt Hudson, of course, a former police officer. He's been working with the NAACP on a variety of police issues, dealing with the whole issue of accountability out of St. Louis. Redditt, glad to have you back on the Tom Joyner Morning Show. You're following this trial, and it is stunning that this guy has had his job for 4 years and has not been held accountable for killing Eric Garner using this chokehold.
Well, yeah, but Roland, NYPD has a whole history there with that. They've settled billions in misconducts with people in New York City, and their approach has always been that that's just the cost of doing business. We'll violate your rights, we'll violate your body, and we'll just pay for it on the back end and keep our offices moving. I think that when Pantaleo engaged in murdering Eric Garner on the corner, as he did that day, at the time and afterwards, he had no expectation of being held accountable for it because he knows the team that he's a part of.
And it was also just interesting in just the callousness that we have here and the fact that from a public standpoint, how do you go almost 4 years? I mean, literally 4 years. You would think that, within a year there would be a hearing that when they chose not to even indict him for the murder of Garner. Yeah.
Here's what's even more stunning about that, though, because they predicated that delay, or at least they attributed it to a wait for the federal investigation to conclude. Remember, they said that we were waiting for the federal investigation to conclude before we initiated any disciplinary action. And the federal investigation, usually historically our go-to entity, right, as black people for justice, we bring the feds in, and they've not concluded an investigation on what is. And
in fact, Redditt, the statute of limitations expires on July 17th of this year. It will be 5 years the 5th on that date. And so the feds have until July 17th to actually file federal civil rights charges against him, and they've done nothing as well.
Yeah, it speaks to a need for us to work inside the system and outside to create the kind of accountability that we know we deserve. I think the tone at the top has contributed to the delay or the extended delay with the president and his approach to law enforcement and the Department of Justice. Starting with Jeff Sessions before he left, made it very clear that he thought it was open season on people now, and that officers could expect very little accountability for whatever they do. And it's created this kind of an environment.
So New York Times says this here.
This guy's been walking around and getting paid for the last almost 5 years?
Yes.
He's on some kind of administrative duty, but yes, he's receiving a check. Yes.
Does this have anything to do with the unions, or is it all from the Justice Department and the slowness there?
It has to do. There's an interplay with all of that. That's a good point that you raised. The unions are going to support this man to the hilt, and they always support officers when they're involved in violations or transgressions against black bodies. But contrast that with what happened in Minneapolis with Mohammed Noor, the officer who, same circumstances. I feared for my life. I shot the woman. She's dead. He got no union support. He got no media narrative support. He didn't have a friendly judge with cops to support him, and he is going to prison.
Well, and also it reminds me of the Asian police officer who was tried and convicted of killing the African American man in the public housing complex. Same thing. Where the union said, "Oh, he absolutely did it," and so you have people who say, "Wait a minute, hold up." So you get basically a black cop in Minneapolis, Asian cop in New York. Oh, no, no support. But of course, if it's a white cop, all of a sudden lots of support.
And they're saying the same thing about Baytown too, with a Hispanic police officer and the black woman.
Yep.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
Race dominates in these cases.
Question: is this say Redditt Hudson played basketball at St. Louis University?
I did.
I used to watch you, man. You had a great game, man.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. If I had my old knees, I could still play.
Who among us?
Hey,
if I had my old knees.
Redditt Hudson, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And that's the guy Tory contribution for today. Thank you.
Hey, man. He used to ball out, man. I used to watch him, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
All right.